Oh, hello. Welcome to the 2013 Hundie Challenge. Today we're going to be discussing Take Off Your Coat and Jacket by Wah Gorbad. Dee-doo-dee-doo-doo, dee-doo-dee-doo-doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-doo, dee-doo-dee-doo-doo, dee-doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-doo. Hey kids, book 3 on our Evelyn Waugh countdown. I think book 3rd and last on this list. If I was to rate these, I don't feel like doing that. Whatever. Who cares a shit? Scoop was one of the best books on this list. One of the funniest things I've read. Brideshead Revisited was it was all right. So I picked up a handful of dust with mixed emotions and mixed expectations. Because I was like, is this going to be a lesser Wah or a greater Wah? You would think they would only put the very greatest Wahs on the book, but, on the list, but who knows. So I'm like, it could either be kind of like Brideshead Revisited, which was not that funny. It was more dramatic. It has some silly elements and things, but I wasn't super enamored of it. It was a good tale of alcoholism, which is kind of interesting to me, whatever. Or it could be like Scoop, which is, brilliant satire of the media and kind of an active genius and all that kind of thing. I, oddly enough, is kind of like Goldilocks syndrome here. It kind of split the difference. I started reading it, and it was really dull at first. And I was like, this is going to be like Brideshead Revisited. But then something happened, let's say about a third of the way through the book. I want to say it's not necessarily divided into 3 parts, but I think of it as being divided into 3 parts. The first part was just this boring nonsense that I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, okay, all right. And I kind of dismissed this book, which is interesting because you know something? Modern audience would dismiss a book if it got bored after a while. I'm the kind of guy that I'll sit and force my way through a book, but a lot of people do not. I am surprised to learn. A lot of people will just fucking give up on a book if it doesn't catch your attention pretty ricky-tick. Anyway, that being said, I slogged through the first part, and I got to the second part, and suddenly it caught my attention. Suddenly it caught on. And I was almost like, this is almost like a completely different book. So what happened is, the main character, well, he's not even focused on for the whole first third of the book. Anyway, main character's wife is cheating on him. She's the one who's cheating on him. But he's this big doormat. So she goes to him and she says, I want a divorce. And here's where it starts to get satirical. And it's kind of like a satire of, the early 20th century English society. It's a real big deal if she's cheating on him. However, if he's cheating on her, it's no big deal at all. So even though she's actually the one who's actually having the affair, the husband agrees to go and falsify an affair and hire his own private detectives, just like you do today. Get a PI, get proof of infidelity, then you have to pay alimony. It's all the same shit, but it's no big deal if the guy's doing it, and he's like, well, I'd really like to, pay you alimony and take care of you and give you your 500 pounds a year. So he just finds this woman and is like, hey, I need to go get a divorce. And she's like, oh, you want to fake an affair? Like it's just the most normal thing in the world. So he goes and he finds this woman. I guess she's not quite a stripper, but she's kind of like a professional chippy. She just goes around the club and asks for cigarettes and drinks and makes sure the men keep paying and, not quite a hooker, not quite a stripper, almost something I've never encountered, although I assume there's still some kind of money to be made in behavior like that. So he goes to this woman, kind of just a woman of low repute, if you will, whatever you want to call her. And he's like, hey, let's go to the seashore. Let's go to Brighton and falsify this affair for my divorce. And she's like, oh, yeah, I want to bring my daughter. He's like, no, bring your fucking daughter. What are you talking about? We're falsifying an affair. And she's like, yeah, but my daughter loves the beach. He's like, don't bring your fucking daughter. So they go to the train. I'm cracking up because this middle part was pretty funny. They go to the train, and the lady just shows up with her daughter. And she's like, oh, hey, I decided to bring my daughter anyway. He's like, I told you not to bring your fucking daughter. We're falsifying an affair. Do you see those two PIs over there? And she's like, yeah, but she loves the beach. So he has to take this chippy and her daughter to the beach. And the woman's just a total, as you might expect, like non-entity of a mother. So the guy keeps taking the daughter to the beach and buying her ice cream and stuff like that, like he's on a vacation with his kid. And the PIs are like, sir. They're like, we're really not supposed to be talking to you, but, this is no way to falsify an affair. What kind of an affair are you falsifying here? You got the daughter. What kind of way is this to behave? So anyway, he's like, look, just leave the daughter out of it. Just take whatever fake incriminating photos you can so I can pay my wife for alimony and get out of this annoying marriage. So they go through all this business because the guy's just like a loyal guy, I guess. And, finally it comes down to brass tacks, and the lawyers are like, so we're going to really turn the screws on you. And instead of giving them £500 a year, like you said, we want £2,000 a year. And he's like, really? Well, fuck you, buddy. Because you know what? I falsified the affair, and there was a kid there, and there's proof that I didn't really have an affair. And she's responsible, so fuck you. I'm going exploring. So this whole middle part is like this farcical, just like laughable farce. And then the third part was really weird. I almost feel like he was trying to jam 3 novels into one. The last part, he goes off on this adventure looking for sort of the El Dorado of South America. And ultimately, everybody on the expedition dies except for him. And he ends up in this village with sort of the equivalent, the modern day equivalent of the Misery Lady. And there's just this asshole like village chief who speaks English but doesn't read English. And he's like, I want you to read to me from these Dickens novels that I have. And he's like, okay, but when can I go home? And ultimately the guy just like imprisons him. He doesn't have to do anything because they're in the middle of the jungle, and all he has to do is refrain from helping him. So this goes on for a while, and they even send a rescue party from England, and the headman of the village just gets the guy really drunk so that he misses the explorers, and he plants a fake grave and just kind of falsely imprisons this guy. And it was this really like dreadful, like I said, it was like Misery. It was almost like a horror novel ending. Like this guy is trapped in the jungle reading for a lunatic. It's almost like a horror ending. And coming on the heels of the farcical middle part, which was just like kind of hilarious, it was really kind of jarring. So like I was saying earlier, this is almost like a weird like split the difference, like behind the drama of Brideshead Revisited and the farce of Scoop, and you get a handful of dust. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.